everyone, FuseMan coming at you, and welcome back to our Out of Ammo Strategy Guide series. And this week we are still on version 0.7.1, so no new update. But we do have the leaderboards from last week, so we're going to be pushing as high as possible there. And so we're going to be looking at the city, which is the second map on the leaderboard, but it's kind of interesting because it's actually the third map on the free play section. So maybe that'll get fixed in the future, but something to point out, that's for sure. And so moving through the early game here, I put my sniper tower to the top left of the map and my sandbags in the back behind my HQ. And the reason for the sniper tower being in the top left is because it actually pretty much covers the whole top left side of the map, plus a sniper spawn position. So super valuable position in my opinion to put there. And the one thing I'll point out with this map is there aren't a lot of places near your HQ to place buildings. And I find that kind of annoying, especially if you have a small play space. I'm running a 3 by 2.5-ish play space, but I can imagine definitely for someone who's running a 2 by 2, this could be somewhat of a problem. And unfortunately, I think that's just how this is going to be for the early access part of the game. But hopefully in the future, what I'd love to see is you can actually just point to an area and then place a building or teleport into that building, because I think that would be super valuable and open it up in a much more fair manner to a bunch more people. So hopefully that becomes a feature in the future. And I think the other thing I didn't get to mention earlier on is positioning your machine gun, because I think that's really critical in this map. It seems that you get one within the first few waves, and it's going to be one of those valuable things, especially when you get to the mid and late game, because more than controlling the machine gun, throughout this whole video, you'll never see me control that machine gun. The thing the machine gun does is really slow down troops as they're approaching your building. So by placing it here, I actually am going to reposition it a little bit later on, but by positioning it in the top right, I'm actually slowing down a bunch of troops that are coming from that area, and allows me some extra time to really go ahead and clean them up. Because the machine gun actually forces the enemies to kneel down and lay down as they approach you, which definitely slows them down and they're not attacking you, which is super helpful in clearing out big waves, more than just killing the waves with the machine gun. So yeah, here's actually where I go ahead and deconstruct it. And again, still moving through the early game, it's important here to actually build up as much coverage on all fronts as possible. So you want the top right corner of the map covered, you want the top left covered pretty well with a rifle, and I think the best composition here is actually either a sniper tower in front and a rifle building in the back, or a rifle sandbag in the front followed by a sniper sandbag in the back. And I think that combo generally will help you clear waves as fast as possible. I generally try to prefer to take the rifleman because when I possess a troop, because that'll be the way that I'm actually going to clear as much of the wave as possible. And here actually I had a sandbag from earlier on, and then I'm gonna replace that with a station basically. I don't know what the exact term for it is called, so let me know in the comments what you guys think it should be called. And so I replaced that and position it better, a little closer to the front, closer to that alleyway, so that I can really get a nice view of what's going on. And so here, again, clearing waves. I actually put for the alley, you get a few rocket launchers periodically throughout the whole game. And I think those are super valuable for the small alleyways, because as more and more troops come in and pile in those alleyways, you're able to effectively use a rocket launcher to kill those troops. And I'll see them in the mid game where they are super effective. And here again is killing in the sniper tower. That actually, I unfortunately didn't have a bullet, so it ended up costing me that sniper. But the neat thing is, even if we get shot by one of those snipers or even riflemen, your troop dies. But if you have medics and they're not busy, they're actually able to revive your troops. And that I think is a super cool feature, because otherwise, and especially what I noticed when I got to the late game of this game, the helicopters actually didn't give me too many troops, if at all any. And that presented a problem, because then I started having buildings that didn't have anyone in them. And here again, here's the rocket launcher. So, but having the medics to get your troops up and running again is super valuable, especially for the mid game that we're about to approach, because you'll have the troops that you need to actually really take down everything that you want to. So again, valuable. But again, I'll also point out that it then becomes really valuable that your troops die to rifle shots and to sniping as opposed to rocket launchers. Because if they get shot by a rocket launcher, the body blows up and the medic is actually not able to revive them. So kind of important there that you, again, kind of from last week's video, target those rocket launchers because they're honestly the most OP things that the enemies have. Other than, I guess, tanks, because those also blow you to bits, but don't have to worry about them on this map. So here, I was actually going to use the artillery bomb to effectively basically take out and see where the troops are coming from so that I can actually go ahead and possess the troop I need to handle the enemies that are coming in. And the other thing I guess I should also point out here is you can effectively use the sandbags by crouching down. And that's huge in this game right now, because normally what your troops are going to do is stand up above the sandbag and they'll die before your sandbag gets killed. Whereas here, what you can actually do effectively is if you crouch underneath the sandbag, put your gun up to shoot, so you don't take damage, whereas your sandbag's taking damage. And you can have a mechanic, you'll see from like the yellow wrenches that are floating up in the air, that your sandbag is actually getting healed while you're shooting. And that is just super effective to keep you in the game that much longer, to really take out a huge wave, throw your grenades and whatever you need to really take things out. And here, actually, the thing with the rocket launcher, it's kind of a mixed blessing, is while when you have them, they are great at taking out troops, but when they get swarmed, they take a while to actually shoot, and as a result, they can get killed pretty easily. They don't have that much health compared to riflemen and even snipers. So, kind of important to make sure you either see where the troops are coming from and then shoot them down, and here's a great usage of it. It actually ended up killing my rocket launcher because he was dead so fast, but it still was super valuable as far as clearing out the wave. So for those small alleyways, it's kind of super important. And the reason I'm saying rocket launchers as opposed to using your artillery strike or your strafing strike is that the rocket launcher is able to go and effectively take out these small positions. So the artillery shell is effective at taking out those small alleyways, but it also potentially, if you misplace your bomb, is going to take out your own troops, and we'll see a clip of that in just a bit. But with the rocket launcher, that's less likely to happen, and because you have a lot more control over that. Whereas with the bombs, they spawn in a radius that isn't exactly the most optimal, especially in those crouched places. And the strafing actually doesn't even hit those. It like goes on the top of the buildings, which makes it really useless in this map. So I only recommend using that in the park area or like far off in the when you actually see enemies coming in. And there was actually just a quick clip of me getting destroyed by a rocket launcher, and as a result, I don't have that troop anymore, which sucks. And you just kind of have to wait and see if you get lucky with the helicopter landing to see if you can get it respawned. But the medic is still not able to get that healed, and it's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, it just goes to show that when you possess a troop and you're watching what everything's going on, you got to make sure to dodge those rockets, because otherwise then you just lose a troop. So unfortunate, but like that's how the game works right now. And I think it's actually a pretty good mechanic that the rocket launchers are that powerful to destroy your body effectively. But yeah, that's just kind of the way that works. So again, we're probably like, this is the mid game right now, and we're definitely seeing a lot bigger troops waves coming in, and it's becoming a lot more tricky. I'm using my sniping tool a lot more, and not to snipe specifically, but actually just to slow down time and give me time to actually look around and see where all of my enemies are coming from. And that's super important because you don't have that much time to actually respond to everything. So there's like the one use case that I'll actually go ahead and use a strafing attack. You'll see in the future I actually use a strafing attack really poorly, and it destroys like a few buildings that I have. And that's why I don't recommend it on this map, because everything is very claustrophobic in a sense. So again, taking out waves. This one was kind of funny because of the machine gun, you got a lot of troops laying on the ground, and for whatever reason, one of the troops, their pathing took them into the park all of a sudden. They were trying to crawl up this hill, and I was like very confused what was going on. So that was, I don't know if that's a bug or just like random stuff. I don't think you can control for that, but still super interesting. And if you actually notice right now, my HQ is smoking on fire, and it's not because the troops that the enemy's been spawning have been attacking it a bunch, but it's just stray bullets. And here it was the most stressful thing again, just like last video. I pulled the HDMI cord out, and honestly that's just because I'm spinning around so much that the wires get twisted and tangled that eventually I don't have that much leeway. I don't have the 3 meter leeway that the cord actually is supposed to provide, and unfortunately it just gets pulled. I was luckily able to survive a bit longer, but still very, very tricky. It cost me a lot of damage. My HQ dropped, I think, from 1,500 down to 500, which is just a couple bullet shots. And so again, I was using my sniping tool and the artillery bomb to figure out where troops were coming, try to take them out before they even got any close to my HQ, just so that no more stray bullets were really hitting my HQ anymore. And I tried as best as I could, but unfortunately here, yeah, I let them get too far. But hey, it's still, even with that mistake in there, and I definitely would have lasted a lot longer had I not pulled that HDMI cord out. We got to, let's see, wait, what? What in the world? Wait, when I looked at this was like 200,000. Now all of a sudden, like, people jumped to 500,000. And wait, that's not even my score. I was like, okay. Let me check the other ones just to make sure I'm not going crazy. Okay. Let me go back to the city real quick. Okay, there we go. Number 10 on the leaderboard. That's what I want to see. That'll probably change by the time I upload this, but hey, whatever. So hopefully this was useful for you guys. Let me know by either liking or subscribing to the video. And also follow us on social media to be informed of when a new video is out or some of the other stuff we do on the channel. But that's it from me. This has been FuseMan, and I'm signing out.